another follow-up episode here at the Contrarians. This time I'm going to be going over some of your reactions to what we said about Killers. So, Rataxes says, thanks for another interesting discussion. Thank you for watching. I'm not totally into Iron Maiden, but the first two albums are definitely my favorite ones. That's a totally understandable opinion. Like I said, the first two albums have a different feel, a more punk feel. I have to agree on Killers as the best album. They lost some of the rawness on later albums. Bruce is a better singer, of course, but Paul's voice is better suited to their music. Peace of Mind is my favorite with Bruce. This is something that maybe I didn't make clear enough, is Bruce is, of course, technically a better singer. There's no doubt about that. I think the argument for Paul is not so much a factual or a technical one. It's really an emotional one. It's really about capturing that spirit of rebellion that I think his voice, because it's not as good, lends itself to a unique quality. Hernan Cortez Batista 1 says, I understand some people like Diano, like his rawness, etc., etc. Still is all based on opinions. This is very true, and like I just said, it's not so much of a factual or a technical argument, the argument for Diano and the argument for Killers. It really is a personal and emotional one. And that's something that a contrarian opinion sometimes is about. Maybe you're not saying this is the best album. You're saying this is the best album for someone like me. And so for someone like me personally, that's Killers. But I digress. I think this or that. I like this guy better than the other. So he's just hitting on what we're saying, that it's opinion based. But the facts have always pointed to one conclusion. I see where we're going with this. We're going towards the facts. And this is probably going to point towards Bruce Dickinson. Here we go. Bruce Dickinson's fronted Iron Maiden is one of the most accomplished bands ever, regardless of genre, plus the fact that Killers features two new developments in Iron Maiden's history, Martin Birch and Adrian Smith. Not like Diano got better. Actually, his self-destructing behavior and extremely limited vocal range was growing to a point of being replaced was a must. I think I hit on this when we were talking about Killers, and I agree. Paul Diano definitely didn't make things easy for the band, and that's one of the reasons I really like this album, and I treasure it, because it was not an easy record for them to make. It was not easy for them, especially personalities like Adrian Smith, to work with personalities like Paul Diano. Adrian Smith and Martin Birch, those are big additions. You're right. Adrian Smith in particular has had a huge influence on our main sound. He's a big part of that 3-guitar sound that they eventually developed. So there's a lot of good points here. Let's say you think Diano has great talent, etc. Then where is his Megadeth type of answer to Steve, Dave, and Rod Smallwood's dismissal? This is an amazing point. I'm sure everyone knows Dave Mustaine was formerly a member of Metallica. When he was kicked out, his response was to form Megadeth, which became another incredibly famous band. And he's basically saying, if Paul is so great, how come Paul didn't have an answer? Like, how come Paul wasn't able to create a counter band, and then create that sort of battle like Metallica versus Megadeth? And This is a really, really good point. The only thing I think I could say to that is that, hearkening back to the fact that Paul made things difficult for them with his reckless behavior, is that he needed them as much as they needed him to create this sound. And that's what's unique about Killers, is it's a perfect moment in history where production and raw, crazy talent and anarchy met to create something unique that's a mashup of the sound they would eventually come to define, the neoclassical, maybe not neoclassical, that's a bit of a misnomer, but the harmonized guitars and a lot of the more progressive things like that, mixed with that raw punk element of the very first album, and even the Soundhouse tapes. Let me find my place here in this very, very large comment. Thank you, by the way, for putting so much thought into your response. We really appreciate the feedback here. Paul Diano was dead weight that Iron Maiden had to get rid of. In their quest for absolute greatness, it's clear why Iron Maiden has a 40-plus year career of relevant music, and Bruce Dickinson is one of the main reasons, not the only one. There's consensus among metal historians, fans, musicians, in the fact that Bruce Dickinson is one of the top hard rock heavy metal frontmen ever, alongside guys like Ronnie Dio and Rob Halford, etc. Paul Di'Anno is never mentioned in that discussion. As ruthless, Hernan, you're ruthless, but you're right. Paul is not he's not regarded in the same light that Bruce is, and that's understandable because, like you said, Bruce has a decades-long career with Iron Maiden, and they did so much. But I just keep harkening back to that one point that it was a magical moment. It was a special moment. Bruce is there in the conversation for greatest frontman, regardless of genre. People like Freddie Mercury, Robert Plant, Mick Jagger, etc. You want a very underrated fact about Iron Maiden's career? In 2012, to celebrate Queen Elizabeth's 60th anniversary, England's biggest music and entertainment retailer conducted a poll, online and store-wide, asking people to vote on the greatest British album of the last 60 years. So this means everyone from the Beatles to Adele is included. The Floyds and Zepps, Sabbath, Stones, Muse, Coldplay, everyone. Everyone is in all caps. He really wants us to emphasize this point. And lo and behold, the winner, beating all those Sgt. Pepper and Abbey Road and 21 and Violator and Paranoid and every British artist released, is none other than The Number of the Beast. That is power, regardless of opinion. Like it or not, if you think some Brazilian mobster had the people in 2001's Rock in Rio hack the voting system, it doesn't matter. Facts are facts. Bruce Dickinson's work in Number of the Beast is what brings Iron Maiden to the top of the genre until this day, with Legacy of the Beast and ED Force One, all these impossibly amazing live albums and tours, Life After Death, Made in England 88, Donington 92, Rock in Rio 2001, Death on the Road, Flight 666, On Vivo, and all that stuff never happens with Di'Anno. There's no argument in that. Simple as that. Sorry for the long post, my 2 cents. Don't be sorry. This is amazing and a really, really great comment. I think everything you say is completely accurate, and you're right, factual. And all I can say is what I've been saying this entire time. Di'Anno is not as good a singer as Bruce Dickinson, of course. You know, you're right. You're totally right about that. But I feel as for someone who, and for other people like me, who maybe felt like a bit of an outsider at times, and who maybe didn't always want to go with the crowd, there's something so appealing to that rebellious nature in Killers. And you don't have to sacrifice the quality and sound that you kind of have to do with their first album. And yeah, it's just a unique space and time and a unique piece of metal history that I don't think we will ever see again. But thanks so much for your comments, and remember to like and subscribe. Ring the little bell so you get notifications when our new videos are out. We'll be having lots of new videos and lots of new follow-ups, so have a good one till we see you next.